Inside Rangers Football is brought to you by Physicians Premier. Our conveniently located freestanding ERs are fully equipped and expertly staffed so you get the best care closest to home. At Physicians Premier, you'll find faster service, friendly doctors, and a comfortable level like no other. And Texas Regional Bank. Buying or building a home? We have construction and mortgage loans to help. For all your personal or business banking needs, Texas Regional Bank. The people you know. And Texas 46, a home-style hill country restaurant, has been in the Spring Branch community for over 30 years, where the focus is on a Lone Star favorite, slow-cooked barbecue. We can cater or host your next large event, too. Welcome to Texas 46.
Welcome to Inside Rangers Football. I'm your host, Brant Freeman, along with Smithson Valley head coach Larry Hill. We'll preview Smithson Valley's big game coming up this Friday against Judson. But first, we start with a look back at the Rangers' win over East Central from this past Friday, 30-13. And coach, again, the game came after your bye week. So how did the team look coming off the byes that took on the Hornets this past Friday?
You know, I thought I was real pleased with that. So often you're sluggish, particularly early in the ball game, coming off of a bye week. But we seemed to carry some momentum from our win. You know, prior to the bye week, had good 2 weeks of practices, and we came out and played well, specifically defensively early, and then I thought our offense really fell into a nice rhythm there mid-first quarter all the way up till halftime.
Yeah, looking at the play of the offense in the first half, you scored 20 points, 3 touchdown passes from Levi Williams, all to 3 different receivers. What does it mean to have so many reliable options in the passing game?
Well, it makes, you know, it's what you want. You know, you don't always get that, but you hope to have that. You know, it puts a little pressure on the defenses. Where's the ball going to come out? Who's it going to? And he's got confidence in those guys. They have confidence in him. We had good pass protection really the whole night, and it was good to see that really clicking early on.
Now, you also had 285 yards rushing against the Hornets on Friday, 16 carries for Jacob Fortone, 13 for Mark Franco, 13 for the quarterback, Levi Williams. Is it safe to say you had balance running the football as well?
Well, I think so. Both balance between run and pass, and then balance in the running game, as you said, spreading the ball around, who's carrying the football. That's what we hope to achieve. You don't always get that, but I really feel like the play of our offensive line and the ability to run the ball, as you mentioned, opened up some things in the passing game, and of course makes you a little tougher to defend when they're having to defend every threat.
Getting back to the play of your defense, the game prior against Canyon, they gave up a few big plays, but against East Central, maybe only the one big play given up to D'Angelo Rosemont of the big run of the first half. Beyond that, do you feel as if you shored up some things defensively?
Well, I thought our defense played well. You know, I thought they played well against Canyon, except for, as you mentioned, a couple of explosive plays. But those count, unfortunately, and we've got to you know, really made it a priority. And, you know, 20-0 lead, a few minutes before half, they did pop the one, as you said, to make it 20-7 at the half. But all in all, I thought our front played very well. They had been a heavy run-first team that had been able to really run the football, both short, medium, but then explosive against everybody. And we really, I felt like, took away what they did best, which forced them to do some other things, which, you know, when you've got a team doing that, your chances of playing good defense all night are good. The
team started the season 0-3, but again, 3 tough losses that came down to the final minute or so. But since then, you've bounced back to win your last 2 games, defeating Canyon and East Central, both coming in district. You're now 2-1 in 26 6A play. And now past the halfway point of the season, you've played 5 games of what is now a 9-game schedule for you. What have you learned about your football team at this point of the year?
Well, they're a very resilient bunch, for one thing. You know, they're not stupid. You know, they know those first couple games could have gone differently, but they didn't. So you learn. You're a little bit better when you go out there next time, and you'd be in pressure situations. You've been in them the first 3 weeks, and now when district comes or continues, I guess, you know, maybe you're not quite as wide-eyed as you were early on. Pretty young football team that should get better as the year goes. I hope that's happening. Moving kids around, who needs to play here instead of there, who maybe needs to shift to this spot. what does this defense do well, or what does this offense not do well, so maybe we need to feature these parts. You know, that's kind of a work in progress every year, and no different this year. So I don't know that we're all the way there yet, but we're maybe a little further along than we were.
Again, the Rangers coming off of a win over East Central from this past Friday. Let's now go inside the film room and take a look at some of the big plays for the Rangers in the win over the Hornets.
Let's take a look. Our first big play of the week is defensive play. We're going to feature initially sophomore defensive end Trey Moore. You can see Trey circled there at the bottom of the screen. The play will be run right to him. You'll see him play off a block and then actually get to the ball carrier, hit him for a loss, and then allow time for all of his mates to get there, and ends up being a big loss with a big gang tackle. As the play unfolds, here comes the block. You can see Trey squatting down, getting his shoulder into the blocker, not letting the ball run where they want to run. Now the ball has to go outside. Trey's athletic enough to ricochet off that block and get to the tackle. And then we've got 3 or 4. We got Matt Colmusberger, we got Will Gibbons, we've got Tanner Hobeck all getting here, and then just for grins, we got Corey McElroy and Mason Livingston coming in late. End up throwing him for a 4-yard loss and snuffs out their drive. Our next big play is an offensive play. One of our touchdowns, we're going to focus on Ethan Sill, one of our receivers. He's in the slot here. You can see with the circle around him. As the play unfolds, he's one-on-one with the safety. He gives him a little inside move, and you can see the safety leaning his hips to the inside, and then Ethan breaks and goes around him to the outside. Doesn't beat him by much. The ball is very well thrown by our quarterback, Levi Williams. You can see the ball with the circle around it, and you can see Ethan elevating up over the safety, comes down with a catch in the end zone for a big play and a touchdown. From the rear, we'll focus a little bit on pass protection. That's Ronald Copeney on the far left, Taylor Brooks the next end from the left. Our center is Devin Smith. He's kind of hidden there. And then Sam Garibay, who moved over from defense to offense, is next. And then Logan Smith on the far right, giving great cup protection to Levi. You can see he's got a lot of room to launch, and here comes the launch. And then at the very high point, you can see the ball, the first arrow, and then Ethan's got a half a step, makes a big catch in the end zone for a touchdown. Our next big play is a special teams play. I really feel like this is the one that turned the game. We had a 2-touchdown lead coming out of the half, and they ran a fake punt, which they are notorious for doing. We're going to focus on Tom Zoig, a junior linebacker who's on our punt receiving team. He's dropping out to defend the fake that we feel like is coming. There's 2 receivers there, and he covers the high receiver, and then the punter, who's also their quarterback, throws it to the low receiver. You can see as he catches it, though, he's still got 4 to 5 yards to get to the first down as Tom closes in from covering the high man, makes the tackle well short of the sticks. We get the ball. Instead of them punting us back, we get the ball up around the 40-yard line, and we're able to go in and score. From the rear, you can see Tom dropping out, covering, like I said, the deep receiver as the punter rolls out to the left. There's the short receiver. He's open, but Tom recognizes what's going on. When the throw comes, he breaks forward, makes the tackle, big play. We get great field position, go down, score, and put the game away. And those are our plays of the week.
And again, Coach, the offensive play that we saw there was the touchdown pass to Ethan Sill, a player who wasn't playing receiver until a couple of games ago against Canyon, really showing off his versatility.
Well, you know, we had intended to do that all along. We did it all spring, make a two-way player out of Ethan, and then he kind of had some injuries early in two-a-days throughout the scrimmage and even the first game or two. And then when we got back, we just let him settle in on defense for a couple of games and then brought him over as we had intended to do. And he's made an impact, as you can see.
Well, again, with a win over East Central, Smithson Valley is 2-1 in 26-6A play, right now tied for second place. Up next, they'll take on the first place Judson Rockets. A game we'll preview coming up in just a bit. But up next here on Inside Rangers Football, we have senior moments, Linneman, Rangers trivia, and more as we are back with more Inside Rangers Football in just a moment.
Come on in.
Hey, Coach. I'm here to try out for the Rangers mascot. I mean, what's better than the guy who Smithson Valley was named after?
Don't you mean Benjamin Smithson? You're Benjamin Franklin.
Smithson? Oh, that makes sense.
He was instrumental in founding this area in 1856. He was one of the first Rangers.
The first Ranger. What position did he play for you, Coach?
He was a Texas Ranger, a Western lawman.
I get it now. I like where this is headed. Be right back. Hey, Coach, how about another perfectly executed shameless plug while I'm gone?
If you need video production work, there's no finer organization than WIC Productions. It's who we trust for Rangers Network and game night scoreboard production at Ranger Stadium.
Well...
Oh, you nailed it.
Rangers we will be!
WIC Productions. Watching a video is just better than reading stuff.
Since I've had GVTC installed in my office, I've been able to get a lot more done. With fiber speeds up to 1 gig a second, I can turn in all my schoolwork on time, keep up on social media, and watch game film with no interruptions.
Whoa, we haven't even played that game yet.
Yeah, it's that fast.
Enjoy uninterrupted entertainment with your favorite apps through our professionally installed GVTC Wi-Fi home network. Log on to gvtc.com to sign up today.
Chicken Express is the place for legendary chicken tenders, the freshest sides, and the best sweet tea in Texas, Chicken E Sweet Tea. Let's give a big thank you to the Brown family for supporting all the high schools in the area for over a decade. Dine in, drive up, or drive through. We'll see you at Chicken Express.
We've got spirit. Yeah, we do. Fill up your tank and support the Rangers, too. When you get gas, look for the Rangers Spirit Pump because Pit Stop and Fishers are donating a percentage of sales from that pump to the Smithson Valley Athletic Booster to support our student athletes. Get gas here and fill up the Booster Club's bank. Here's where you can find your Spirit Pumps. When you see it, pull up and fill up, Rangers.
Welcome back to Inside Rangers Football. Over the past 2 games, Ranger quarterback Levi Williams has accounted for 9 touchdowns, so he's been all business on the field, but he's also having a little bit of fun here in Inside Rangers Football as well. In this week's Senior Moments with our very own Emily Wick. Emily?
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Brant. All right, boys, it's that time. Get your phones out, text your mama hi. Tell her thanks for bringing you today. All right, Levi, Alfonso, and Will, y'all ready for senior moments?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let's get going. Levi, what do you feel like your best personality trait is?
I'd probably have to say probably like my chillness.
Your chillness.
Yeah,
so you're pretty chill.
Yes, I'm pretty chill.
I've seen you on the football field. I don't know that you're real chill on the field. You kind of change and turn something on once you get out on the...
Yeah, it's like, you flip the switch. I guess you can say that.
All right. But off the field...
Yeah, I'm pretty chill.
There you go. All right. How do you feel like that serves you best?
I guess a lot of people can hang around me and I'm not too bad. I don't know.
You're easy going.
Easy
yeah,
going,
there you go. That's not bad.
I'm chill.
So, Will, what has been your favorite thing about growing up, from little to now?
I'd say at Christmas we have all my cousins played here, and so we have a little family football game on the field. So
that's
every year
fun.
we call it the Snuggle Bowl, so that's pretty fun.
Oh, that does sound fun. So when did y'all start that?
About 5-6 years ago.
Okay. Who usually wins?
The young guys. We split it in half, and the old guys never have a chance.
Oh, so you play kids against dads?
No, so there's a cutoff point in the middle of all the cousins, and all the older cousins always lose because they're just too old now and they don't have a chance.
There you go. I'm guessing you're on that younger end.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. So Alfonso, what is the funniest prank you've ever played on your parents?
Oh, that's a hard one.
Do you play a lot of pranks?
No, not really.
No? Okay.
I tend to be nice to them.
Okay. Okay.
I don't really prank them.
No?
I don't think I have.
You don't think you've ever pranked them? Have they ever pranked you?
Yes. When I was little, they used to pretend like I was invisible.
Oh, no.
So I used to get scared, and they used to just be like, "Where is he?" And I was, it was a bad joke. Yes, exactly. It wasn't fun.
Funny. It wasn't fun. Levi, if you were a Crayola, what color would you be?
Oh, probably blue.
Blue?
Yeah.
Why blue?
Everybody uses it, and it's a good color. So.
It's just a good color?
I'd be the first one out.
Yeah.
So.
Would you be navy blue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, Ranger blue.
Ranger blue.
That should be a color, Ranger blue. Yeah. Pull it right out, Ranger blue.
Coach
there it is.
Say that.
There's wires.
Will, if you could impersonate Coach Shen, what would that look like?
Oh.
Yeah!
It's a great day to be a Ranger!
That was really good!
That was good.
High five.
That was good.
Attitudes are contagious. Is yours worth catching?
That's a good one.
That's his favorite one.
Stay on your highway!
Okay, boys, I got a joke for you. What animal has more lives than a cat?
Llama.
Is that just the first thing that came to your head?
Yeah.
A llama. Nope, not a llama. Anyone else? A frog. You know why? It croaks every night.
Oh my gosh.
Get it? Croaks every night. It's pretty good. It's a good one. All right, I have a little Ranger trivia for y'all. Okay. And one of you, I really think should know this answer. Here it goes. You ready? Which Ranger has the most career tackles?
Joe Pavelic.
Oh, there you go. That's Will's cousin. Yes, Joe Pavelic. Do you know how many?
219.
407.
Oh, I thought it was season.
407 total tackles. Yep, there you go. Is he on your team when y'all play?
No, he's on the old guys' team.
Oh.
He still puts up a good fight, though.
He still puts up a good fight. Poor Joe. Well, Will, since you knew the answer to Ranger trivia, you win a prize.
Nice.
I'm going to get Levi to throw it to you, though. He might have a little better throwing skill than me. Good job. How many cousins have you had that have played at Smithson Valley?
There's Joe, Michael Pavelic, David Pavelic, John Pavelic, Matt Woodchick, Andrew Woodchick, Ben Woodchick, Connor Snogo, Robert Mormon, Jacob Mormon, Luke Mormon, Jack, and myself.
That's a lot of Ranger cousins. I bet I'm going to have to come down at Christmas and watch y'all play. Yeah. That's pretty interesting. All right, boys. Do you have any talents for me?
I can throw a football.
You can throw a football.
Yeah.
The whistle.
Do the whistle. Do the whistle. Okay.
Do the whistle.
That's like an Indian song. That is legit. Do it again. How did you figure out you knew how to do that?
I don't really know. My cousin started doing it one day, so I tried to do it, and then I figured it out.
That's pretty good, Levi. You try it. Ready? Here we go.
I don't.
There it is. That sounds like it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's kind of almost not at all.
I don't even know how to hold my hands.
It is.
No, it's not happening.
That's not happening. So guys, I feel like y'all are really feeling the 70s today.
Yeah,
Do you know any tunes?
Yeah, I know a tune too.
I want to hear that.
I'm ready.
All right.
Is this the real life? Or is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide, no escape from reality.
Go, Will.
Open your eyes, look up to the skies and see. I'm just a poor boy, I need no sympathy, 'cause it's easy go, little high, little low. Anyway the wind blows doesn't really matter to me.
Hold on.
Mama just killed a man, put a gun up against his head, pulled the trigger, now he's dead.
Oh, mama.
It's just begun.
Good job, guys.
We really killed that.
That was great. Y'all killed that. That was dope.
I love that song.
I had no idea what y'all were singing.
I had no idea what y'all were singing. How can you not know that,
I know it, but
Alfonso?
I know the lyrics.
Coach Brant, back to you.
Go Rangers.
Well, Coach, a lot of rich family history for your football program here at Smithson Valley. A lot of these families go way back.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that little game they're talking about over Christmas, but knowing how all those guys played for us on Friday nights, my guess is that's a pretty high-quality game. And what a great family, and you know, what a great tradition we've had with that whole clan of Ivan Snoga.
And I'm willing to bet that a lot of them could tackle pretty well too, couldn't they, back in their day?
They sure could. We'd like to get a few of them back.
Well, on the topic of tackling, let's now take a look at this week's segment of Little Men with Coach Lynn and tackling here at Smithson Valley.
Fundamental to good defensive football is just the art of tackling. And tackling does not have to be complicated, particularly if you're doing things right and understanding where your teammates are. It's not often about one guy tackling one guy. It's really more about good team defensive football and forcing the running back to go into a small area with no options. Here to explain some of that, of what we mean, is Coach Brad Lynn. Coaches our defensive tackles, been at Smithson Valley for a long time, and he's going to talk to you a little bit about how we coach our players to limit the options of the ball carrier. So Coach, use the little men board here and take us through some of that.
All right, on every offensive play, our defensive players have to defeat a block and they have to quickly find the football. When they find the football, they have what we call leverage. There's a natural side of the ball carrier that they're on. A word that you hear from the NFL all the way down to youth football now is populate the football. We're not going to let or try to let one player only make the tackle. We want to do what the old term was, gang tackle. We want everybody to be there. So you can see on the little men that this player has inside leverage, so he's going to focus on just the inside half of that ball carrier. This player on the outside, obviously, he has outside leverage. All he has to do is attack the hip of the running back. And this middle player, knowing that his help is on the inside and the outside, he can, what we call, cap the play. He can attack full speed and possibly force a turnover because we know that the other two players have leverage.
So with leverage and only focusing on one side or one part of the tackle, our players can play faster, they can play more aggressively, they're not worried about making mistakes, they're not worried about the ball carrier moving away from them. It can break down though if you lose your leverage, if you're supposed to be on the inside and instead you're on the outside, or vice versa. So that's kind of what it looks like on the little man board. Now let's go to some live action and see what we're talking about.
All right, on this play, we're going to have a perimeter play. They're going to throw the ball to the numbers, and you can see that the arrows indicate that these three players, they have a direct responsibility. They know ahead of time where they're supposed to attack this ball carrier to try to get him on the ground. And the most important thing is their teammates know where they're going to fit, so they can go full speed to just one half of the player. That's what we call leverage. Now, this next clip, it's not going to work so well for us, but I can teach you something about it. These players have leverage inside, the outside player has leverage outside, and there's clearly a capper, and there's not too many blockers in the way, but since we take a wrong angle, this player is allowed to cut back on us. Luckily, we make the play because the other players are aware of what's going on, but this is what happens if we don't keep our leverage correctly. The next play is just a running play, but it ends up on the sideline as well. Notice all these players become inside leverage players because the ball is so quick to the outside, but they spill the ball to the last player outside who makes the tackle.
Those were some excellent examples of what can and cannot go well for you, but Coach Lynn, we appreciate you taking us through that. And now let's go to Rangers Trivia.
This week in Rangers trivia, Smithson Valley hosts Judson this Friday at Ranger Stadium. Last year, Smithson Valley defeated Judson in a wild back-and-forth overtime game won by the Rangers by a final score of 40-37. How many times did the lead change hands in last year's game? Is the answer A, 6 times, B, 7 times, or C, 8 times? The answer is C, 8 times. In addition to the lead constantly swinging one way or another, there was also a ton of offense on displays. The Rangers and Rockets combined for 930 yards last year, but it was the final 25 yards that did it on Trevon Merrick-Woodard's game-winning touchdown in overtime. Again, a wild game against Judson a year ago, won by Smithson Valley. And Coach, obviously the big play was the game winner, the 25-yard touchdown for Trevon Merrick-Woodard. What else do you recall about that game?
Well, it's about as close as you can get. It was tied at half. It was tied at the end of regulation, obviously, and you know, we were able to make one play and win it. But well, just a lot of wild swings of momentum, as you mentioned, with the lead changes, and just two teams getting after each other, and you know, we're tickled to get the win. Well, last year's game was in Converse. This year's game is at Ranger Stadium. A game we'll preview coming up next. Back with more Inside Rangers football in just a moment.
Let's go. Hurry up. Get the play in.
Okay, here we go. Left retainer, headgear, no popcorn, straight teeth.
That's a good call. Headgear? Straight teeth?
Yeah.
Good call. What's going on here? I thought I left you in charge. It was a good call.
It was a great call. Really good call.
Okay. Run the play.
Smoky Mo's is great. You can feed a whole bunch of people on a little bit of money. It's perfect for Friday nights.
My boy's a football player, and this fills him up. The brisket is awesome.
I like brisket and sweet brisket. I can say it.
They have the best turkey, brisket, sausage in all of Comal County.
I agree, and the kids love it too.
You're never going to play offensive line for the Rangers eating salad. Come get some beef.
Get your guns up!
Go Rangers! Second and 10 for the 25. Williams will throw, going deep in zone. No, short of the end zone is Woodard, who breaks a tackle into the end zone for the game winner.
Oh, wow.
Trevon Merrick-Woodard, future Horned Frog, current Ranger, has just knocked off the #1 team in the state. 40-37, Smithson Valley. What a finish. Well, Coach, you and I were talking about the big play the Rangers had a year ago to win it in Converse. We just saw a replay of it. Take us back to that play and how Trevon Merrick-Woodard was able to get into the end zone.
Well, you know, it's just a play. I mean, it really wasn't anything we invented or hadn't done, you know, dozens of times before. But sometimes in critical situations, it's about players, not plays. And, you know, he just made a play. You know, he was able to separate a little bit, had good protection. We threw it in there, and of course, as you saw, he's able to muscle and wrestle the last few yards and get it into the end zone. So, you know, there wasn't too much spectacular about the execution of the play, but, you know, the end result was spectacular. Again, coming up in just a moment, we're going to preview this year's game between Smithson Valley and Judson. But right now, it's time to check in with volleyball head coach Courtney Patton to see what else is happening in Smithson Valley Athletics. And, Coach, let's start with your program. How are things lining up for you this week in volleyball?
Hey, we had a big week last week. Volleyball won 2 big games last week versus East Central and Judson. This week, volleyball is going to take on Steele here at home on Tuesday, and then we'll travel to San Marcos on Friday. Cross country had a big week last week. They got 4 district championships. Boys and girls JV won, and then the varsity boys and girls both won, all district champions. Congrats to them. Our golf girls competed last week at Swing for the Cure, and this week the boys will be competing at the Republic. I've got a special guest with us today. Coach Lalonde is here from the tennis team to talk to us about the district competition they had last week. What can you tell us, Coach?
We had a great week. We just completed our district tournament. We finished in 3rd place out of some very tough competition. Very proud of the team. They did fantastic. We next move on to play in the bi-district round. We will be facing Lake Travis on Tuesday of this week.
Great. Thanks so much, Coach. Brant, we're looking forward to the big game versus Judson this Friday.
Yes, Coach, we're going to have the game on the Rangers Network Friday at 7:30 as well. So let's get into it. The preview, Smith Valley and Judson. The Rock is a team that need little introduction, a team that is regarded as one of the best teams not only in the area, but statewide as well, and the only undefeated team left in the 26 6A district. Coach, again, Judson, a team with a lot of history, a lot of tradition, and very good again this season. How impressed are you with the job that Sean McAuliffe has done with his program?
Well, he's an outstanding coach and is surrounded by other outstanding coaches on his staff. They're very well coached. I think sometimes when a team is as talented as they are, that gets overlooked. You know, they put those guys in position to make plays. They're very disciplined when they're there, and of course they do have talent, as we mentioned. And so, you know, we have all the respect in the world for both their program, their players, and their coaches, and their tradition, of course. And it's a tall order to play them every year. This year's no exception.
Well, we've spoken a lot about the game from a year ago, and there was a surprise start at quarterback last year. Amira Bailey-Davis started at quarterback for Judson. He is their receiver, though, this season has played very well. Cynthia McCormick is a big threat in the backfield. Mike Chandler's playing well as a quarterback for this year's team. This is not a Judson offense that's short on options, is it?
No, they're not one-dimensional by any means. You know, they run the ball very, very well, but they do it with a lot of guys, and they throw the ball very well and spray it around to different receivers. And their offensive line's very well coached and has tremendous size. So there's not a thing you can point to say, okay, well, there's a place we can get them. We just got to play every play. We got to win this play, and we got to win this series. And then when we're back out there, we got to do it again.
There are a number of returning defensive starters from last year's team, and a lot of those players could be playing at the next level, at a high level, FBS, Power 5 kind of programs. That's the kind of talent that they have. So how does Judson like to utilize all this experience and talent on defense?
Well, you know, it starts up front like most teams do with their defense. You know, their defensive front is outstanding. You mentioned where they'll be playing next year, and there's a couple of guys there that may play at the level after that. You know, they're that talented physically and otherwise, and so you know, obviously we've got to find ways to slow them down and try to neutralize them. That's easier said than done, but that's got to get done if you're going to move the football.
When you take into consideration the level of competition that Judson brings, the crowd that is expected on Friday, and ultimately what the implications may have in the game on Friday as well in terms of district titles and playoffs, what kind of atmosphere do you expect there to be on Friday night?
Well, it'll be a December playoff atmosphere. Every time we play those guys, it seems like it is, whether it's early in the year, mid-year. Of course, time or two, we've rolled all the way back around, played each other in the playoffs. It doesn't seem to matter when we play them. There's that kind of feel of the game, and my guess is this Friday may be similar.
And what do you see being the biggest keys to the game on Friday, Coach?
Well, the usual things. No matter how big a game it is or isn't, it still boils down to the same things. I mean, takeaways versus turnovers, and explosive plays given up versus explosive plays that you make. And then you got to do something in the kicking game. You got to make some difference-making play or set of plays in the kicking game, and that's not any more true now than it is the first game or in any ball game. So the bigger the game, the more we tend to go back to what we know.
All right, Coach. Best of luck on Friday.
All right. Thank you, Brant.
Again, it is Smith Valley versus Judson in a 26 6A clash at Ranger Stadium. We'll have live coverage of the game available for you on the Rangers Network with kickoff at 7:30. For Smith Valley head coach Larry Hill, I'm Brant Freeman. This has been Inside Rangers Football. Thanks as always for watching, and we'll see you next time.